Hello, this is Julia Davis of Yoga Teachers Forum, and I'm here today with Judy Hirsh Sampath, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of things connected to yoga. And Judy will be joining us at the Teachers Forum on the 25th of March. Good afternoon, Judy.
Good afternoon.
I have known of your yoga teaching and yoga business for many, many years. But I never knew where Yoga United started or what the roots of it were. And I don't know what the roots of your personal practice is either. So maybe you could tell me a little bit about where your yoga life began.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, just to say thank you for inviting me. It's nice to see your smiley face because I'm not used to doing these video things. So I'll just take a moment. And yeah, so where to start?
Do you remember your first class?
Yeah, so I started practicing about 25 years ago. My first class, I think I was really lucky. I went to a teacher called Billy Doyle, who you may know of, yeah. And he looks a bit like Jesus Christ with his, white beard and everything. So I took a friend along, and we were like, I don't know what this is going to be like. I had no idea about yoga, and he just gave this very simple instruction, which was lie down on your mat and surrender your physical body to the ground. And there was something about the way he said it and the words as well that I just suddenly fell in love with yoga right from that very beginning. So yeah, I think I was really lucky to have Billy as my first teacher. And I soon realized how yoga was helping me and supporting me in my life. So I think in my 20s, I spent a lot of time quite depressed, numbing out, smoking dope and drinking a lot, and wanting to kind of hide away from the world, thinking that the world was quite a dangerous place. Didn't really felt a bit of a misfit, I guess, like I didn't fit in. And once I discovered yoga, I just had that sense of belonging, and I started to understand more about my nervous system and the different states and how to keep yourself safe, and how I could, during a relaxation or a meditation, find that had this experience that the world was a really safe place and the world was a beautiful place. And that was very different to the part of the nervous system that is, looking out for danger and feeling into, the fear of being in the world and connected with people. So there's those little glimpses, I guess, of connection and beauty and love, and just being really grateful to be born on this beautiful planet. Shifted my awareness totally in how I could be in the world. So that's, I feel, what my yoga has done for me. I think I practiced, and then I went off to India thinking that I could find myself, and realized quite soon that actually what I could find was the belonging inside of myself rather than finding it outside. So I tried following some of the ashrams and the gurus, and it didn't really work for me. So I had this great epiphany, I guess, that I could just follow my own path, and that that was available to me, that I could do that. I didn't have to follow anybody else for the answers, or continue to ask people what they think, or what's right for me, that I could just find that within myself.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
I just wanted to stop just because that is really powerful, that you had an amazing teacher. He's still teaching at Lauderdale House, I think. So if anyone wants to find him, I think
yes. Yeah,
I think he looks exactly the same as he did 25 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
But how beautiful to go to India, where there's such a rich source of yoga, and find yoga in yourself when you go there. That's beautiful. Thank you. Sorry, I will let you continue now.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I mean, well, you used the word powerful, but I think that's how I experience yoga, that it empowers me to, to be myself, and to be okay being myself, and to stand up and, step into the role of, now maybe a leader after 25 years of teaching. But yeah, so I looked for my teacher training in India, but I ended up training with the British Wheel of Yoga. And I got very into Iyengar yoga at that time because I wanted to know about alignment and bones and, you know, postures and correctness. And I remember going back to Billy Doyle and asking him, you know, I've got this thing about the right and the left, and should I do the right side twice and the left side once? And he just took this breath and he just said to me, wholeness. And I was like, yeah, that's another of those moments where I realized that that I didn't need to use yoga to fix myself and correct myself, but really it's about a playground of inquiry and yeah, just being myself, this belonging and being myself thing.
That's beautiful. And then, so you trained with the British Wheel.
I
and
did.
How did things, you know, from there, those roots of teaching, how did things emerge from there? How did you come to teach yourself?
Well, I remember on the teacher training, I think one of the first things we had to do was to do a flyer as if we were setting up a class. So you didn't really have to wait until you were qualified to do that. So I set up a class pretty much straight away, and loads of people came, and it was I was kind of already teaching a little bit before that, but to kind of formalize things, I did that training with Sarah McIntosh, and yeah, it was a great course, and she encouraged us to all be the teachers that we wanted to be, rather than, you know, fitting into a, you know, this is how you have to do it and this is what you have to teach. So I just started teaching straight away, really. And I was lucky to meet Tara Fraser, who invited me to teach at Yoga Junction, and who asked me to start teaching on the foundation course with her at the time. So I think that step from teaching classes, you know, teaching 1.5 hours or teaching 2-hour workshops, to like teaching a whole day and then teaching a whole course, was a step that I really needed help with at the time. So that gave me a lot of confidence to start to develop my own courses, and yeah. So yeah, and write stuff that I was interested in.
And so how did Yoga United come about? And I know that Yoga United is kind of, it's, you know, you did ethical selling of yoga mats and all sorts of products like that before people talked about things being ethical, and before people, or many people didn't really care where they got things wrong, but you were always doing that kind of work. I just wonder where that came from and how you made your connections to India.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think it was a conscious decision to start selling yoga props or anything like that. So I think everything that I do comes from a desire on how to live life soulfully, ethically. And I was literally in India. I mean, I said I didn't find myself there, but I did find a husband there. And I found a yoga teacher there, and I found lots of amazing things there that are very inspirational, you know, for body, mind and spirit. And basically, you know, one of Saz's friends, my husband's friend, made me a yoga mat, and I brought it home. Maybe not a mat, a yoga mat bag. And I brought it home, and people were like, oh, where did you get that bag? So I said, oh, somebody made it. So, maybe I'll ask her to make some. So she was somebody who had kids at home. She had like a pedal sewing machine that sat outside the front of her house. And she made me 10 mat bags, and I sold them in my class. And I knew Paul Walker, who ran Yoga Matters, and so we went into Yoga Matters and said, hey, you know, we've got these mat bags, would you like to order some? And he was always really supportive of us and what we were doing. So he said, yeah, I'll order 100. And we were like, oh, how are we going to make 100? Like, can she sit outside a house and make 100? Maybe we need to, you know, find a few other people that could make stuff. So So we ended up finding more women, and we thought if we can do this in partnership with women who can work at home, fit it around, you know, bringing up their children or other stuff that they've got to do during the day, then we don't need to go to a factory and just mass produce stuff.
Mm.
So that's how we started. We had an order of 100 mat bags from Paul Walker at Yoga Matters, and so we upscaled things, and then we started making bolster covers for them too, and then we started making bolsters for ourselves, and we started the website. So before we started the website, we started selling on eBay, and I remember Saz putting stuff on eBay, and I was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God, we've sold a mat bag. You know, it's so exciting. So that's how it began, and that was 12 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was
So yeah, so now and then as it grew, we thought, well, if we're selling, you know, eye pillows, bolsters, mat bags, we really should sell mats, and so we kind of grew, and so that everything is kind of under one virtual roof, if you like. And Saz really runs that now, and his sister, who lives in India, manages the team of women, but we've trained them up how to make bags. You know, the women who make the eye pillows, they're very simple to make, so we've trained up some women who, you know, don't have sewing skills, just to kind of cut the materials or make things that are very simple.
So
And
do you
every
have
year
two
we
homes?
go.
Do you have like, is there like a UK home and an India home for you? Is that, you know, do you have homes in two places?
Yeah, definitely, yes, yeah. We spend the winters in India, so yeah, I never really liked the cold much, and so luckily I had work where I could go off to India for a winter, and you know, and I found a teacher, a yoga teacher. So there was a group of us that used to go to India in the winters, a woman from Germany, a guy from Japan, a guy from Belgium, a couple of people from the UK, and we all used to meet in the winter and do yoga and stuff.
Oh, there you go.
There's the dog.
Get that squeaky sound out, yeah. And so you used to go off together to India. And how, do you remember your first retreat that you ran in India? How did it feel to be teaching yoga in India?
Yeah, I couldn't forget it. I mean, that was, you know, it was a really big deal. So yeah, I kept going off for winters, and my students, you know, some students are a bit like, oh, we're going to miss you, or you know, who's going to take the classes while you're away? And I said, well, why don't you come with me? So we had 17 people sign up for a yoga holiday in India.
Wow, for your first
We'd never done anything like that before, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend it unless you have, you know, unless you really have support on how to do it and what you're doing. You know, so I guess a lot of retreat centers are set up for that, and that's fine. But we were like, oh, they could stay there and they could have lunch there, and we could use that yoga space. So yeah, I remember it was raining the day before, and I did quite a lot of crying, and my nervous system was in that, you know, real freeze place of like, I just want to hide away and become invisible and shut down now. You know, maybe this was a really bad idea. And I think I felt like that at the end as well. But
Yeah.
luckily everyone had a great time. And I said, I'm never going to do that again. Like, that was, you know, that was enough. And then the next year, my yoga teacher introduced me to a venue that I just fell in love with. And I thought, yeah, it can work here. And so we've been going there every year since then. That was, yes, we've been running retreats for 12 years now. And people who were on that first retreat, you know, still coming back. So it didn't put them off. And my nervous system is much more, you know, in a kind of social engagement, happy place.
But you know, what you're saying about it all sounds very organic, like, oh, this happened, and then this happened, rather than having a business plan that you decide.
Yeah.
And what you said about your students naturally coming with you to India, that just reminded me of John Stark, who has an Italy retreat that he runs every summer. And everyone's been with him for the last, you know, probably 35, 40 years. He's been teaching a very long time. And it's beautiful when that happens in an organic way. And I know other people that work in that way as well. They've got their students and they build a bond together, and it's like that bond that they build, they kind of take somewhere, rather than thinking, oh, I'd like to run a retreat in wherever, and finding somewhere and then imagining that people who've never met you before will all come in their thousands to be with you. So,
Yeah.
so it's lovely to hear that your experience of building your business has been very organic. Can you talk a little bit about the other aspects of your yoga world? You're doing all sorts of lovely things.
Yes, I mean, I think what you just said about as things happening organically is really, you've really hit the nail on the head. I think that's just so important that, we through yoga and being a teacher, you build this kind of field of connection with people, and it affects the well-being of every cell of your body, and the well-being of each other, to be together with people. I find really powerful. So it's not necessarily, well, it is also about learning, but it's about creating a support through belonging to a group of people. And so the next step, I guess, after the mat bags and the holidays was creating that. And so I'd done a lot of training myself, and I love learning because I think it's just, food for the soul. And I felt like there were other things that I wanted to share and create these fields of connection between people that's very nourishing and healing. So I started, I continued from the British Wheel Foundation course to develop a yoga therapy foundation course, because I trained as a yoga therapist, and a lot of people were saying, oh, can you do a teacher training? And I was like, well, that's not really where my passion is, and there are a lot of teacher training courses.
Yeah.
So I thought a yoga therapy course would be great, and then I thought, if I create a foundation course in yoga therapy, then people are going to be saying to me, oh, are you doing a yoga therapy training, or where shall I go and do my training? So I thought, I'm just going to step into this. I remember the moment as a real menopausal moment where I was building this fire in the garden, because we just moved house and I wanted to burn all the old paperwork. And so I had this, I can't remember what they're called, looks like a bin, to create a contained fire.
Fire pit.
It was like a fire pit. So there I was, stirring my fire pit, getting hotter and hotter, and I kept seeing these bits of paper floating up that were, yoga class and workshop, and I don't know, just bits of paper from the past really that were all floating up in front of my face, and so I decided, I'm going to step into this, because all this experience that was flying up out of the fire made me realize, that I actually knew a lot.
Yeah.
And I'd been doing it for a long time, and I had a lot to share and a lot to give, and to pass on and to pass forward. So I created this course. There's like a 550-hour yoga therapy training, and the first part of it is really about yourself. So we have to do our own practice. We have to know how to regulate our own nervous systems to be in a therapeutic relationship with somebody else, and to help them do that, the same thing. And so there's a lot of self-reflection, self-awareness, ways to get into tuning into the wisdom inside the body, rather than trying to work everything out from the mind. So that first 8-day course is open to everyone, and then people who are interested to continue into yoga therapy then can continue to that. But the menopause has been, awful in a lot of ways, but very good in other ways. So I wrote a yoga therapy for insomnia course, because I spend a lot of time, you know, with these night sweats lying awake at night. And then I thought, well, I might as well use this time productively. And I wrote a whole course on, you know, yoga for insomnia, because that's what I was, you know, dealing with myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I love delving into the seasons. That's my kind of passion as far as yoga is concerned. Is that it's where are we in the seasons of our lives? Where are we in the seasons of the year? Where are we in the seasons of the menstrual cycle? I love all that, and absolutely, there can be massive challenges in perimenopause and menopause, but it could also have some very special gifts for us as well. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of at the beginning of that journey.
Yeah.
So if I make it to the end, I'll let you know what books I've written in the middle of the night.
Feel it fully. Feel it fully, live it fully, see what comes out of it. So yeah, there's that organic thing about, you know, well, what can come out of this way of life? Like, how can I choose a way of life that fits with my desires? Like, you know, what am I living for? What's important to me?
Yeah.
And how can I kind of make things organically come out of that, flow out of that heartfelt desire for how I want to be in the world.
Oh, fabulous. So from this little chat I've had with you, I found out, considering we've known each other in the passing of the yoga world for many years, I now know who your first teacher was, where you did your teacher training, how Yoga United came to be. It's lovely. I really enjoy chatting, you know, doing these chats, because I can feel your passion and I can feel your journey. It's lovely. So right now, I'm just going to remind everyone, now that they've had a flavour of who you are and where you come from, a little bit that you're going to be with us at the Yoga Teachers Forum London. So Judy's going to be at Yoga Teachers Forum London on Wednesday, the 25th of March, which is just the end of this month. The session's from 1:30 till 3:30. We don't charge anything for the Wednesday sessions, but we ask if you can afford to give a £10 donation, and that donation goes to shelter, and most oftentimes we can double it. So it's really a lovely way to do a little bit of a kind yoga and learn from somebody, and it's very much a sharing space. So we don't sit on our mats in order and listen to the guru do their thing. It's very much, you know, we're experiential people, so it tends to be an experiential session. Have you had any thoughts about what you want that session to look like, Judy? or are we going to wait and see?
Yeah, well, I have some ideas. I mean, you wanted me to do something about, you know, yoga business and how to run workshops and retreats, or, you know, ideas for how you can take your teaching forward. So I was thinking about guiding people through like what their vision is and how to manifest your dreams that fit in with your life, and maybe how to step into more leadership, or maybe how to step out of too much. Because what I hear is that, you know, there's some teachers that are just constantly, you know, going to those classes and running those classes and doing so many classes and the admin and all of it. So it's like taking a step back, you know, tuning into what you desire in your life and how you can create more ease and for yourself in that. Yeah.
Lovely. And how can we find you, aside from at the forum? If someone wants to get in contact with you, buy some mats, or find out a little bit more about how they can actually spend time with you outside the forum, how might they do that?
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for that offer. It's generous of you to offer that. So yeah, the website is www.yogaunited.com. You can contact me at Judy at yogaunited.com to ask me about courses or holidays, or if you're a teacher who wants to run a holiday, you want some mentoring or just to connect, then that's how you contact me.
That's great. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing you in person at the end of the month, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you again and hearing more about your journey as well, now that you know all about mine.
Lovely. Thank you.